Your grocery basket is getting more and more expensive, and store shelves are getting empty faster than ever. And this is just the beginning. According to the latest report by the Global Food Security Center, the food market is facing a major crisis in February 2025. 8 key products may disappear completely from the stores, and if you don't take action, you will soon have to pay 3 times as much or look for alternatives. Stay tuned, because today I will tell you the specific products, the reasons for their shortage, and what you can do now to avoid being left with nothing. And now let's get started. Product #1. Coffee. Why your morning can change forever. Coffee lovers, it's time for some disturbing news. In 2025, the global coffee industry is facing the biggest crisis in decades. If you're used to starting your day with a cup of aromatic espresso or cappuccino, you should prepare for serious changes. Brazil, the world's main coffee supplier, which provides more than 40% of the global Arabica market, is currently experiencing the worst drought in 50 years. Temperatures have reached 45 degrees Celsius, causing large-scale crop losses. Coffee plantations that have consistently produced crops for years are drying up, and farmers are cutting down thousands of trees in desperation, as it is no longer possible to save them. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Climate change is compounded by global logistics problems, container shortages, political instability in producing countries, and rising labor costs, which further exacerbate the situation. Shocking statistics. The situation on the coffee market is rapidly deteriorating, and the numbers confirm this. Coffee bean prices have risen by 35% since the beginning of the year alone. The cost of raw Arabica on the exchanges has reached its highest level in the last 15 years. Coffee stocks in the world's largest supermarket chains have decreased by 60%, which is already noticeable in stores. In the US, Europe, and Asia, suppliers are starting to limit coffee shipments. Some producers have already reduced volumes by 25%. Consumers may face a reduced choice of coffee brands or a significant decrease in quality due to the use of cheaper beans. But the worst part is the long-term consequences. Due to the high cost of production, farmers may simply give up growing coffee, which will further exacerbate the problem in the coming years. Why did this happen? The main reasons for the coffee shortage are environmental disasters, economic factors, and logistical problems. Climate change and droughts. Brazil has experienced strong temperature fluctuations over the past year. First, abnormal frosts killed young seedlings, and then record heat provoked a large-scale drying of coffee trees. The situation is similar in Colombia and Vietnam, other major coffee producers. Shortage of workers. Due to the economic crisis and migration problems, thousands of workers have left coffee plantations, and new ones are becoming increasingly difficult to find. Coffee production has become unprofitable for small farmers, forcing them to switch to other crops. Supply problems. The world is still recovering from logistical disruptions caused by the pandemic and military conflicts. A shortage of containers and rising fuel costs are making coffee delivery more expensive. Growing demand for alternative beverages. Large coffee consumption markets, such as the US and Europe, are beginning to look for alternatives. Demand for premium teas, matcha, and energy drinks is growing sharply, changing the balance of the beverage market. What can you do to avoid being left without coffee? If you are a true coffee lover, you should act now to avoid unpleasant surprises in February. Stock up on beans now. If you have a favorite brand of coffee, buy a few packs for backup. Coffee keeps well in airtight containers in a cool place, so you can avoid significant price increases. Try alternatives. Due to the shortage of Arabica and the high cost of coffee, many brands will start blending cheaper Robusta varieties, which can change the taste of your favorite drink. If you want to maintain the quality of your coffee, look for organic or premium options. Pay attention to substitute drinks. If coffee supplies are limited or prices rise to exorbitant levels, try a barley coffee drink, chicory, or even cocoa. They can be a good alternative, especially for those who want to reduce their caffeine intake. Keep an eye out for promotions and sales. Many chain supermarkets still have leftover old batches of coffee that are sold at old prices. This may be the last opportunity to buy a quality product without overpaying. Use economical brewing methods. If you have a coffee machine or a Turk at home, switch to more concentrated brewing methods. They allow you to get a rich flavor from fewer beans. Product #2, bananas. Will they soon become a luxury? Bananas are one of the most popular fruits in the world. Every year, people consume billions of tons of this nutritious fruit, and it has long been an integral part of breakfasts, snacks, and baked goods. But in 2025, the situation could change dramatically. The global banana industry is currently experiencing one of the biggest crises in history due to the deadly fungal disease tropical race 4, TR4, which is destroying plantations around the world. Why are bananas under threat? The main producer of bananas is South America, which accounts for about 85% of global exports. It is there that the dangerous TR4 fungus is now spreading, attacking the roots of banana trees, making them incapable of further fruiting. The peculiarity of this disease is that it cannot be treated. Once the soil becomes infected, it becomes unsuitable for banana cultivation for decades. Farmers try to fight the spread by cutting down and burning diseased plants, but this does not stop the disaster. In addition to South America, TR4 has already damaged plantations in Southeast Asia and Africa. This is a global problem that could change the availability of bananas in the coming years. Statistics that are staggering. The scale of the crisis is becoming more and more serious. Here are the main figures that explain the situation. 25% of the world's banana supply has already stopped due to the massive destruction of plantations. Prices are expected to rise by 80% in February 2025, making bananas less affordable for most consumers. Some countries are already experiencing shortages. In the US, Canada, and Europe, supplies are declining, forcing importers to reconsider their supply strategies. Food companies are looking for substitutes. Juice, baby food, and bakery manufacturers are considering other ingredients because of the upcoming shortage. If the situation does not change, bananas may become an expensive delicacy rather than a cheap everyday product. Why didn't you notice this problem before? Unlike other crops, bananas have no genetic diversity. Almost all commercial bananas belong to the same variety, Cavendish. This makes them extremely vulnerable to disease. In the 1950s, TR4 wiped out the previous popular variety, Gros Michel, which almost completely disappeared from the market. Now history is repeating itself, and there is no effective way to stop the spread of the disease. Farmers are trying to grow varieties that are more resistant to the fungus, but this process takes many years. Meanwhile, TR4 continues to destroy plantations. What can you do now? If you're used to bananas in your daily diet, it's time to look for alternatives. Replace bananas with other fruits. Apples, pears, mangoes, and peaches have a similar texture and can replace bananas in snacks and smoothies. Try dried bananas or mashed bananas. Dried bananas keep for a long time and have a concentrated flavor. Banana puree can be used in baking and desserts. Pay attention to prices. If you notice that bananas have become more expensive, this is a signal of a shortage. Buy them in smaller quantities or choose promotional offers. Keep an eye on developments. Some countries have begun experimenting with new banana varieties that can replace Cavendish. They may become available in the coming years. Product #3, vanilla extract. Why is it becoming more expensive than silver? Vanilla extract is an indispensable ingredient in baked goods, desserts, and many other products. However, in 2025, this popular flavoring may become scarce and extremely expensive. Madagascar, the world's main producer of vanilla beans, which provides more than 80% of the global vanilla market, lost 40% of its crop this year due to severe cyclones. These climate disasters destroyed thousands of hectares of vanilla orchids. The peculiarity of this plant is that it takes several years to grow, and manual pollination makes production difficult and expensive. Thus, the lost crops cannot be quickly restored, and the demand for vanilla extract is only growing. Statistics that are striking. The vanilla shortage has already affected the market. In 2024, the average price of a bottle of vanilla extract was $25. Now it has reached $85. Some stores are already limiting the sale of vanilla extract to 1 bottle per customer. Prices are expected to rise further in 2025, as major producers such as McCormick have warned of possible supply problems. Why is vanilla so expensive? Climate disasters. Vanilla orchids are highly vulnerable to weather changes. The powerful cyclones that hit Madagascar destroyed much of the crop, and it will take up to 5 years for farmers to resume full production. High cost of cultivation. Vanilla is manually pollinated because natural pollinators, bees, are not up to the task. This makes the cultivation process very expensive, and labor in the region is becoming increasingly expensive. Demand exceeds supply. Vanilla is used not only in baking, but also in perfumes, cosmetics, and beverages. Because of this, there is a shortage in all industries, which further increases the price. What can you do to save money? If you see vanilla extract at a normal price, buy it for future reference. It can be stored in an airtight container for years. Use alternatives. Maple syrup with bourbon or vanilla powder can mimic the taste of natural vanilla in baked goods. Look for local producers. Some regions are beginning to grow alternative varieties of vanilla that may become more readily available. If the situation doesn't improve, in 2025 vanilla extract may become a luxury item available only to professional chefs and manufacturers. Product #4. Canned meat. Why might there be a shortage? Canned meat is a product that many people keep in case of emergencies. However, in 2025, this strategy may become more difficult due to the global crisis in the meat industry. Global meat prices are at record highs, and a number of countries, including the United States, Canada, and Europe, have reduced production due to feed shortages and rising fuel prices. Facts to consider. Production of canned meat has decreased by 50%, which has already affected supplies. Some supermarkets are running out of stock within days of replenishment. The price of canned meat has increased by 40% since the beginning of the year, and this is not the limit. Why did this happen? Increased cost of feed. Due to droughts and crises in the grain market, feed for livestock has become much more expensive. This leads to an increase in the cost of meat products. Decrease in production. In 2024, some large livestock farms closed as their expenses exceeded their income. This affected the production of beef, pork, and chicken. Problems with the supply of canned food. In addition to the meat itself, producers are facing a shortage of tin cans and logistical difficulties, which makes it difficult to transport goods. What to do? Buy canned meat now, while it's still available. Pay attention to the date of manufacture. Most of these products can be stored for several years. Consider alternatives. Canned chicken or fish may be cheaper than beef or pork. Use legumes and soy products. Chickpeas, lentils, and tofu are high in protein and can replace meat in dishes. Buy fresh meat and freeze it. If you have the freezer space, this can be a cost-effective solution. Product #5. Organic eggs. Why are they disappearing from the shelves? Eggs are one of the most important products in any household. They contain high-quality protein, healthy fats, and essential trace elements. However, if you're used to buying organic eggs, you should prepare for major changes in the market. In 2025, a shortage of organic eggs may become a reality due to extreme cold in the US and Canada, which has significantly affected the productivity of poultry farms. What's going on? Unlike conventional industrial chickens, organic chickens are kept in more natural conditions, have more space, and are fed exclusively natural feed. But these factors make them more vulnerable to weather changes. The winter of 2024 to 2025 brought record-breaking frosts that reduced the productivity of organic poultry farms by more than 30%. As a result, the supply of organic eggs fell and prices rose. Statistics that show the situation. Stocks of organic eggs have decreased by 40% in the largest supermarket chains. Prices are expected to rise to $8.10 per dozen in February 2025. Some regions have already introduced restrictions on the purchase of eggs, no more than 2 dozen per person. Why won't the problem disappear quickly? Organic production takes longer to recover. Organic farms have strict standards for keeping birds, so they cannot quickly increase the number of chickens to compensate for losses. High feed prices. Due to the global grain crisis, natural organic feed has risen in price by 45%, which increases the cost of eggs. Decreased profitability of farms. Some farmers are forced to close their production facilities or switch to less costly methods of raising poultry, which further reduces the production of organic eggs. What can I do to avoid losing access to organic eggs? If you see organic eggs at an affordable price, buy more. Freeze beaten eggs in containers. They will keep for up to 12 months and are a great alternative to fresh eggs. Look for local farmers who sell organic eggs directly. They may have stocks that don't make it to supermarkets. Consider alternatives, such as plant-based egg substitutes, which are gaining popularity. In 2025, organic eggs may become a luxury, so it's worth thinking about saving money or switching to alternative protein sources now. Product #6. Hot sauces. Why might they be in short supply? Spicy food lovers may soon face a problem. Popular hot sauces such as Tabasco, Sriracha, and Frank's Red Hot may become a scarce commodity in 2025. The reason is a large-scale reduction in the chili pepper harvest in Mexico the United States and South America due to abnormal weather conditions. What is happening? Mexico, the main supplier of chili peppers to the global market, lost 34% of its crop due to extreme heat and lack of water for irrigation. Farmers in California are also reporting a 20 to 30% drop in yields, making the situation even worse. Facts that show the situation. The supply of chili peppers has fallen by 40%, which directly affects the production of hot sauces. Some supermarket chains are limiting the sale of sauces to 1 or 2 bottles per customer. Producers are already changing their recipes to use cheaper substitutes to compensate for the lack of hot peppers. Why is this problem important? Demand for hot sauces is growing. The global market for hot sauces is growing by 5 to 7% annually, which combined with shortages leads to a significant increase in prices. Raw materials are becoming more expensive. In addition to pepper problems, producers are facing a shortage of glass bottles due to global problems with packaging production. Alternative sources of pepper do not cover demand. Some countries, such as China and India, are trying to increase their hot pepper production, but this will take at least 2 to 3 years. What can you do to avoid being left without your favorite sauce? If you see your favorite sauce in the store, buy some extra. Most sauces have a shelf life of 1 to 3 years, so you won't lose anything. Try dried or crushed chili peppers. They can be a worthy alternative in dishes. Make your own sauces. With minimal ingredients, you can make a homemade equivalent of sriracha or Tabasco. Use less spicy sauces. Some manufacturers are starting to produce alternative sauces based on vinegar, fruit, and spices. Product #7, buckwheat and other cereals. Why can they be lacking? Buckwheat has long been considered a staple in the diet of millions of people, especially in Eastern Europe and Asia. However, in 2025, this strategic product may become scarce due to the crisis in the grain market. What is happening? The global cereal market is facing serious challenges, driven by drought in the US and Canada, and a decline in exports from Ukraine, one of the world's largest buckwheat producers. In addition, climate change has led to a significant decline in yields. In 2024, drought affected 50% of the acreage, and unexpected frosts in Europe and North America destroyed a significant portion of the crop. Facts that show the situation. Buckwheat production is already down by 50%, which has a direct impact on its availability in stores. Prices are expected to double in February 2025. The deficit will affect not only buckwheat but also other popular cereals such as rice, bulgur, and oatmeal. Exporting countries are cutting back on supplies, giving preference to the domestic market, which further exacerbates the problem. Why is cereal production declining? Climate disasters. Droughts, frosts, abnormal temperatures. All these factors have destroyed a significant portion of the grain crop. Military conflicts. The war in Ukraine has had a serious impact on the global grain market, as the country is a key exporter of buckwheat, wheat, and other crops. Due to the destruction of infrastructure and risks for farmers, yields have plummeted. Increased demand. Due to economic difficulties, people are looking for cheaper sources of carbohydrates, and cereals are one of the main options. This creates additional demand that producers simply cannot meet. What can you do to avoid being left without buckwheat and other cereals? Buy a few packages of cereals now, while they are still on sale at adequate prices. Consider alternatives. Quinoa, lentils, barley are still available in large quantities. Pay attention to local producers. Small farms may have stocks that are not available in large supermarkets. Use multifunctional foods. For example, you can use potatoes or pasta instead of rice. Buckwheat and other cereals may become high-demand products in 2025, so you should act now. Product #8, fresh berries. Why will they become a luxury? Berries are not only delicious, but also extremely healthy, rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. However, in 2025, a shortage of fresh berries could significantly change their availability and price. What's going on? Due to abnormal frosts in the US and Europe, farmers have lost up to 50% of their strawberry, raspberry, and blueberry harvest. In addition, unpredictable weather conditions have affected the flowering and ripening of fruits, which has reduced yields and increased the cost of plant care. Facts that show the situation. Some large supermarket chains have already reduced their supply of fresh berries by 40%. Prices for strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries have increased by an average of 70% compared to last year. Some stores have started selling berries in smaller packages to reduce the perception of a sharp rise in prices among customers. The berry shortage is expected to peak in February-March 2025, especially in the northern regions. Why did this happen? Weather disasters. Frosts in North America destroyed up to 40% of the crop. An abnormal heat wave in Mexico led to the drying out of a significant part of strawberry plantations. Increased transportation costs. Because berries are perishable, they require expensive transportation with refrigeration. Due to rising fuel costs and logistical problems, transportation costs increased by 25%. Labor shortage. Seasonal workers are needed to pick berries, but due to new immigration laws in the U.S. and Canada, farmers cannot find enough workers, which reduces the amount of harvested crops. What can I do to avoid paying twice as much? Buy frozen berries. They are cheaper and often retain more vitamins than those sold fresh. Pay attention to local products. In some regions, farmers can sell berries cheaper than importers. Use alternatives. For example, instead of blueberries, you can add currants, cranberries, or other seasonal fruits. Make preserves. Jams, preserves, or berries in their own juice can be a great substitute in times of shortage.